I don't have a story to go with my video today. I want to first say that I saw this project similar to mine. I saw it on the DIY-a-GoGo channel, and it was Charlotte Lawrie of Creative Soul Makery, and she did a tray with some metal trim around it, and she added feet. She used scrap wood and she painted it, and it was so cute, and I'm like, I have to make one of those. I had a cutting board, a big heavy cutting board that my husband said, we don't really use this anymore, let's get rid of it. And I put it in my stash to think of something to do with it. So today, this is what I did. I made one of those risers like Charlotte made with her scrap wood. She painted the metal and the top and the legs, and I was gonna paint all that. The color of it was like yellowy orange, not very attractive. Sanded it down. I sanded the top of the cutting board with 100 grit sandpaper, and I removed the old feet with a screwdriver. Okay, the next step for my cutting board, I've sanded it, I took the feet off, and I'm going to use dark and decrepit liquid patina to seal it and give it a little bit darker color. Apply the dark and decrepit in the direction of the wood grain. Okay, so I have 2 coats on the top, and I just did 1 coat on each of the sides. Let that dry completely. I'm going to save the old feet for something else, but the new feet actually came off of a thrifted item that was some type of candle display, and they were painted gold. To get the chippy, distressed look I wanted for the feet, I started with weathered wood by DIY Paint. Then I wet distressed it just a little bit with a baby wipe, and I sealed that with dark and decrepit. I added a thick layer of beadboard to the feet so that when I distressed it, it would get a nice crackle. I used my heat gun to enhance the crackle and speed up the drying process. Protect your fingers. I put it on a pencil so that I wasn't blowing the heat directly onto my hand, which it gets really hot. The finishing step is clear wax and then dark wax. You want to use clear first so you can control the dark wax. I buffed the feet and they turned out exactly what I had in mind. Chippy, aged, crackly, layers. I really love it. I'm using a measuring tape to measure the perimeter of the cutting board, and I'll take that measurement to determine how much of the metal trim I will need. Cutting the metal trim with tin snips is really easy. You may even be able to use regular household scissors, though I didn't try that. Keep in mind, the metal can be sharp on the edges. I'm ready to reattach the feet, and I'm using the screws from the old feet that were on the cutting board before because they fit perfectly in the project already. A couple weeks ago I went thrifting and I bought an old toolbox, and in the toolbox it had boxes and boxes of nails and screws and things that had never been opened. So the toolbox itself was $10, and it had at least 6 boxes of nails and things. Our neighbor is building a shed, so I gave them the rest of the boxes of nails. So I feel like the toolbox itself was free, and the cute tiny little nails, I think they're like 3/4 of an inch. They were perfect for this project. I laid out the trim, keeping the top edge even with the top edge of the board. And anywhere the metal was bent up a little bit in the filigree, I tried to bend that back down into place just using my hands. I nailed it in with the tiny little nails. And what I did was I didn't punch holes in the trim. I just butted the nail up against one of the cutouts in the trim, and that worked pretty good. On the last corner, I bent the trim around the edge to find where I should cut it, and I allowed myself a little bit of leeway. I cut it with the pin snips and trimmed off the excess, and then finished nailing it into place and made sure that the edges were smoothed down. And that is DIY in a day. So in my project today, I used the scrap cutting board, or you could use scrap wood. The tin lace I got from Jamie Ray Vintage. It was sold out when I first tried to buy it, and then when it was back in stock, I'm like, I'm buying 2 of them. I used tin snips for my husband. I also used dark and decrepit, clear wax, dark wax, bead board, and weathered wood. I love it, and I don't think I can sell it. So I need to go to a thrift shop, find some more cutting boards or scrap wood I can use, make some that I can put in my booth. I also got the real chippy finish on the feet. It's just perfect. I'm in the Faded Rose in downtown Monroe, North Carolina. The past year has taught me that there's no time like the present. Go after your dreams. Do you have a name change coming soon for the booth? I'll keep you posted on that, and I'll see you in the next video. One thing to keep in mind with this project is for decor purposes only, not food safe.